morning, scholars, and happy Monday. I am so glad that you are here with me. We're going to have an amazing week together reading a large collection of a very fun story. And I cannot wait for you to see what the story is and what our theme is going to be for the whole entire week. So, if I were you, stick around because it's going to be an awesome week. Let's go and start our adventure today. Okay, scholars, we're going to see what we're going to be studying the whole entire week for Read Aloud. Are you ready to see what it's going to be? I sure am. It is Fairy Tales and Fables, my favorites. This week we're going to be covering fairy tales, as well as the next couple weeks as well. I absolutely love fairy tales. But before we begin, I want us to think about what are the characteristics or elements of a fairy tale. So let's look. The characteristics of a fairy tale. They begin with once upon a time. They have good and evil characters. They have a happy ending, which usually says, and they all lived happily ever after. That's usually the happy ending that we hear about. They usually have the rule of 3, which means 3 things are very similar in the story. Maybe there's 3 spells, 3 of the same character, 3 of something. So it's usually the rule of 3. Last one, there's always a problem that needs a solution. So there's a problem that happens in a story, and they're trying to figure out how to fix the problem. So those are the big characteristics or elements of a fairy tale. What I have for you is something very fun and special. I have a fairy tale cheer. And that cheer is going to be how we can remember some of those characteristics of a fairy tale. I'm going to teach you the chant, and we are going to do the cheer every single day to remind us what are some of the characteristics inside of a fairy tale. So let's go learn our new cheer. Okay, scholars, we're going to learn a special chant that we can use to help us remember some of the characteristics of a fairy tale. So I'm going to teach you the chant, and we're going to do it every single day this week. So I know by the end of the week, you'll be able to chant it with me. We're going to say fairy tale chants. Get ready, go. Fairy tales are stories that start with once upon a time and have good and evil characters, and they have happy endings. Let's try it again. Fairy tale chant, get ready, go. Fairy tales are stories that start with once upon a time and have good and evil characters and have a happy ending. We're going to continue doing that every single day. That's going to help you remember some of the characteristics of our fairy tale chant. I hope that tomorrow you're going to do it with me. Let's continue and look at some of the feeling words that we're going to feel in today's story. Did you enjoy that cheer? I sure did, and I know that by the end of the week, you're going to be experts on our new cheer. This week, we are going to be talking about the 3 Little Pigs. I love the story of the 3 Little Pigs. Something that we're going to do that's special this week is every day we're going to do another story that's similar to the 3 Little Pigs. That way we're able to compare and contrast, which means talk about what's similar and talk about what's different in the books from each other. So we're going to see lots of different versions of the 3 Little Pigs and be able to talk about what is the same and different about them. Today, however, we're going to do the original 3 Little Pigs story, just so we have a good baseline before we learn the different versions. Here's an example, before we do anything, about the rule of 3. I want you to be able to understand how to find the rule of 3 in a story. So maybe a house of straw, a house of sticks, and a house of bricks. That's 3, the rule of 3. There's 3 houses in the story. So that's an example of a rule of 3 that we can see in these stories that we're going to be looking at this week. In today's story, there's a feeling word that is worried. What does it mean, scholars, to be worried? Yeah, in the picture, there's a girl going, oh no! And she says, when you think something bad might happen. She broke the flower vase and she is so worried that she might get in trouble, that something bad might happen because she broke it. Yikes. I have it in a sentence as well. I was worried when I got stung by a bee because I was afraid I would be allergic. So some people who get stung by bees actually have allergic reactions to them. And I was worried that when I got stung by my bee and it hurt really bad, that I was going to have an allergic reaction. I was really, really worried because almost everyone in my family is allergic to bees. So when I got stung by a bee, I was really, really worried that I was also going to be allergic. But I wasn't. So that's a good ending to being really, really worried. I was not worried at the end because I wasn't allergic. Another feeling word that we're going to see in this story is frustrated. What does it mean, scholars, to be frustrated? Yes, the boy broke his pencil in the picture. He's like, ah! And it says, when you keep trying to do something, but you just can't do it, you get very, very frustrated. I have it in a sentence as well. My cat was frustrated when I didn't let him go outside to explore. All he wanted to do was go outside, and I kept not letting him. He started scratching at the door, getting angry. He ran away and was grumpy at me, and he was getting frustrated that I did not let him go outside, even though he really, really, really wanted to. I'm going to change it up a little bit today and for this week. I'm going to always show you the story first, and then I'll tell you what we're going to think about for the story. Normally, we do what we're going to think about and then the story, but this week I want you to see what the story is first before we dive into what are we going to look for when we listen to the story. So the story today is The Three Little Pigs by James Marshall. This is one of my favorite versions of The Three Little Pigs because I absolutely love James Marshall. He's an author and an illustrator, and I love his illustrations. So in this story of The Three Little Pigs, I want you to think about what happens in the beginning, middle, and end of the story. What happens at the beginning, middle, and end. Then I also want you to think about, why might the pigs be worried? Why are they worried? Lastly, why is the wolf frustrated? Why is the wolf frustrated? I hope you enjoyed the first story of The Three Little Pigs for the week, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Enjoy! The Three Little Pigs, written and illustrated by James Marshall. Once upon a time, an old sow sent her 3 little pigs out into the world to seek their fortune. Now be sure to write, she said, and remember that I love you. Scholars, did you notice the characteristics of a fairy tale? It said once upon a time. The first little pig met a man with a load of straw. I know, said the little pig. I'll buy your straw and build a house. That is not a good idea, said the man. Mind your own business, thank you, said the little pig, and he bought the straw and set about building a house. It took him no time at all. Very soon a lean and hungry wolf happened by. Pig was just about his favorite food in the world, so he knocked on the door and said, little pig, let me come in. To which the little pig replied, no, 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 not by the hair on my chinny chin chin. This annoyed the wolf to no end, and he said, then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. Go right ahead, said the little pig. So the wolf huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the house in, and he gobbled up the little pig. The second little pig met a man with a load of sticks. I've got it, said the little pig. I'll buy those sticks and build a house. I think twice about that, said the man. Oh, pooh, said the little pig. What would you know? And he bought the sticks and went to work building a house. Very pretty, he said. No sooner had the little pig settled into his pretty house when the wolf happened by. He was still hungry, and he said, little pig, let me come in. To which the little pig replied, no, 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 not by the hair on my chinny chin chin. The wolf didn't care for that at all, and he said, I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. Ha ha ha, said the little pig. So the wolf huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the house in. And he gobbled up the little pig. Now the third little pig met a man with a load of bricks. These bricks will make a fine, sturdy house, said the man. Capital idea, my good fellow, said the little pig. So he bought the bricks and he set about building a house. It took him quite a bit of time, but it was well worth it. Nice and solid, said the little pig. Nice and solid. But no sooner had the little pig moved in than he noticed the wolf loitering about. And the wolf, who was still hungry, said, little pig, let me come in. To which the little pig replied, no, 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 not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Well, the wolf had heard about that before, and he said, then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. Oh, don't do that, said the little pig. But the wolf huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed, until he was quite blue in the face. The house stood firm. I'll try another approach, muttered the wolf, and he put on his most dazzling smile. Little pig, I was only teasing, he said. By the way, I hear that Farmer Jones has the most scrumptious turnips. Shall we go pick a few? Oh, I'm much too busy now, said the pig. What about tomorrow morning? Excellent, said the wolf. I'll come for you at 6. The next morning the little pig got up at 5, hurried off to Farmer Jones' turnip field, picked a basket of scrumptious turnips, and dashed back home. When the wolf arrived at 6, the turnips were already boiling in the pot. Sorry, I couldn't wait, said the little pig. The wolf tried not to show his displeasure. No harm done, he said. By the way, there was a lovely apple tree down by Merry Meadow. Shall we go help ourselves to a few apples? I must cook my turnips, said the little pig. Let's meet there tomorrow morning. Splendid, said the wolf. Shall we say at 5? The next morning the little pig was up at 4 and went off for the apples. It took longer than expected to reach Merry Meadow, and while busy gathering apples in the highest tree, he saw the wolf approaching. Do try one of these, he called down, throwing an apple as far as he could. When the wolf chased after the apple, the little pig shimmied down the tree and made it safely home. The next day the wolf came again. Really, he was quite put out. There's a fair today in Hog Hill. Would you care to go? Why don't we meet there? Said the little pig. Would 3 o'clock suit you? Colossal, said the wolf. 3 it is. Just to make sure he would be there at 2. At 1 in the afternoon the little pig went to the fair and had a fine time. So fine that he lost track of the hour. Suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, he saw the wolf coming up the hill. Without a minute to spare, the little pig jumped inside an empty butter churn and rolled down the hill toward the wolf. Well, the wolf was so scared he ran all the way home. That evening the wolf went to the little pig's house and told him how frightened he'd been by a great round thing that came down the hill. Frightened you, didn't I? Said the little pig. That great round thing was a butter churn and I was inside. That was simply too much for the wolf to stand. I've been nice long enough, he cried. I'm going to eat you up right now. And he climbed onto the roof. When the little pig saw this, he put a big iron pot in the fireplace and quickly started the fire. Here I come, cried the wolf. Dinner time! You can say that again, said the little pig, and he cooked to the mean old wolf and gobbled him up. Welcome back! Did you enjoy the story of the 3 little pigs? Probably sounded pretty familiar because I know everyone has heard the 3 little pigs at least once in their life. What was your favorite part? Yeah, I like that too. What happened at the beginning, middle, and end of the story? What happened at the beginning? Middle? End. Awesome. Yes, at the beginning, all of the pigs left their mother's house and went to go build their own homes. What were the homes made out of? Do you see I have 3 fingers? Rule of 3. You said straw, sticks, and bricks. That's the rule of 3. Yeah, so they went out and built their houses. Then what happened? Yeah, the wolf came and knocked on all of their doors, and he huffed and he puffed and he blew the houses down. Then what happened at the end? Yeah, he was not able to blow down the brick house. And then at the very end, he wasn't able to blow down the brick house. He decided to go into the chimney, and that made him die. And then he ate the soup with the wolf in it. Yikes! Well, that was the beginning, middle, and end of the 3 little pigs. Why might the pigs be worried in the story? Yeah, they were worried that their house was going to be destroyed. The wolf was knocking on their door and was like, "Let me in." And all the pigs were like, "Not by the hair on our chinny chin chins." And they were really worried. They were worried first for their lives. They know that wolves like to eat pigs, so they were worried for their lives. And then second, they were worried that their house was going to be destroyed, which it ultimately was for 2 of the pigs. And they also lost their lives, and the wolf ate them. Why would the wolf be frustrated in the story? Yeah, he'd be frustrated because he was not able to break down and blow down the brick house. All he wanted to do was eat the last pig, but he wasn't able to. He couldn't blow the house down. It was built so strong, he couldn't blow the house down. And he was getting so frustrated that he climbed onto the roof and tried to go down the chimney, which ultimately, killed him. Yikes! I hope you enjoyed this story today. I know that the rest of the week we're going to also talk about 3 little pig stories. And I cannot wait to hear your reactions on all of those because they are going to be so funny. Before you leave me, I want you to do one thing. Please click the link below because I want to see what happened in the beginning, the middle, and the end of this story. I cannot wait to see your responses and see if you get it right. I'll see all of you beautiful, wonderful people tomorrow. Goodbye.